Hi, my name is Celeste Augé, and I'm going to read a story called The Good Boat. 8 girls heft oars onto shoulders. They walk out, one by one, oars pointing towards the water. A crew of boys watches them, and the girls can feel their gaze on the backs of their white t-shirts, half curiosity, half contempt. Lustful looks stopped after the girls' warm-up. 10 minutes of flexibilities, 5 minutes running on the spot inside the boat shed. The boys are 1 man short of a row up the river, left hanging around the slip, watching their boat being held down by a girl. The girls place their oars across the gunnels, clunk, clunk, clunk by 8. One of them curses, "Don't hit me with that oar, Katrina." Joe, their coach, buzzes around, hushing storms. The boys are watching. The boat is ready for them. The girls slip their feet into the boat's toughened shoes and fit their oars into the oarlocks. They know what they're doing, but it feels different in the good boat. It feels good to sense the boys' discontent. Push off with the oars, and off they go, away from the weir, around Friar's Cut, and aim up towards Menlo Castle. Synchronicity, the white boat sitting up level, and all the blades feathering in unison, a flat skim through the cold air just above the water. They move up the slide smoothly, drop and pull, and the force of their backs and thighs and forearms propels the boat through the brown water, gray skies and raindrops forgotten. Jo cycles along the riverbank, shouting corrections at the top of her voice. Some of the boys' first crew are watching them. If the boat is to sit level on the water, they must move with perfect unity. Concentrate. This is their first row out of the wooden boat, known as the coffin. Xavier, too, the good boat proclaims on its glossy side. The boat is only 2 years old, and today the girls will glide in fiberglass, soar through the water like a swan. A launch threatens to upset the boat with a wash. Their cox calls, "Ease up!" Mick's orange megaphone, really a stolen traffic cone with either end sliced off, pushes out the 4 words that cut through the noise of the launch's motor, the sound of blood rushing past ears. "Okay, bring it back." 8th boy found, and it's the first crew's boat. The girls know they will have to turn around at the iodine. They know that they are still being watched. So they row a hard 10, aimed for unity. Back at the boathouse, wood is for second crews and girls. Race day. The 9 teenage girls gather next to the gaping side of the boathouse, in a circle around Coach. She's wearing her lucky hat today, the one her father wore in Rhodesia. 5 minutes warm-up, she calls, spots the boys' crews, shifting around the slip, getting ready for their 4s race. "Inside," she tells the girls, and they all move around to make sure that Helen is running on the spot with her back to the water, so the boys can't gawk at her large breasts. The girls start their flexibilities, 3 repetitions of each stretch, and Coach gives her pep talk, reminds them of strategy. This will be the last head of the river this winter. The last river-long race by time trial. First race at home, though. Their usual days cling to them like shadows, and they line out along the good boat, theirs for the next half hour. Right. Let's get this right. Coach doesn't need to say this out loud. The words waft off the tense line of her shoulders, through the thick woolly overcoat she salvaged from the men's section of Anthony Ryan's. Her mouth is a thin slit. Alongside the boat, the girls become their positions. Cox saves her venom for the bus ride home to Furbo. Back to the house where she's not allowed to get things wrong. She keeps the good words for the boat, hollers them from her belly. "Hands on, ready to lift, and lift!" And they edge the boat out of the top rack. "Ready and down to shoulders." The girls lower the boat to their shoulders opposite their rigger, a steady walkout led by Cox. The boat hovers above their shoulders, their steps in unison, the weight of other days still with them, crowding in the space between the shell of the boat and their heads. Stroke carries the fading image of her German grandfather from her first memories, her longing for the boy who sits across from her in accountancy class. 7 wishes she could ignore the possibility of losing, the knowledge she carries from the moment she gets out of bed that she will never be good enough, no matter what her little sister in the stern of the boat says. 6 carries the fear that her boyfriend wants to break up with her again. 5 carries an extra stone and a special liking for West Coast cooler, the freedom it brings. 4 brings the dark smudges under her eyes from her early morning chambermaid shifts before school, the guilt from missing training when she can't swap shifts. 3 holds on to dreams of beauty, of her long mousy hair turning blonde, of her joined-up freckles fading to perfect skin, of her 4 younger brothers turning into frogs. 2 brings her black nail polish and her cropped black hair and makes up names for the coach. Today she's contracepta. Pretends that her father is dead and not just missing in action. Bao carries the flash temper that simmers below her skin, the same temper her mother lets boil over. They reach the slip, turn so that the boat is alongside the water's edge. "And up and over," Cox calls. Coach watches every move of their coordinated limbs, their maroon and white backs. They lift the boat over their heads, tilt it down past their shoulders in one smooth movement, then pause, their knuckles white over the gunnels, and plop it gently into the water. Coach takes 4 aside. She's got a leak, and she's got 60 seconds to change into shorts that don't show crimson on them. And yes, her blue training shorts will have to do. Butterflies tingle in their bellies. The girls climb in. This is it, their chance to prove themselves. They're the last boat in the club to leave the slip and head up the river to the staggered start. Coach calls out one last bit of encouragement, then swings her leg over the crossbar of her bicycle, belts it over to the new bridge, the best vantage point for the finish line. Stroke sets a slow rate, and Cox stays quiet for most of the way up. They listen to the oars skim the surface of the water, the headwind blow past their ears, the birds in the reeds at Friar's Cut. At Menlo Castle, the boat starts to quiver. Cox has been saving her voice for this moment. "Okay, settle down now. Keep it easy. Only 4,350 meters from the lake to the finish. Just over 16 minutes of your hardest rowing ever. Then you can fall over. Keep your head, your technique. Keep it easy. This race is ours." Ease up and drop. Bow side first, then stroke side joins in, and they row the boat around in a small choppy arc to the far side of the starting launch. They look around at the end of their oars, the back of the girl in front of them, the tops of their socks. Anywhere but at the crew of 9 girls waiting for the next slot behind them, waiting for a chance to row against the stopwatch, strike a winning time. They pretend theirs is the only boat in the world. Up the slides, time to get ready, oars squared in the water at the catch, the point the oars will start to move the boat. Look straight ahead, not a breath. Go! And they push with every cell of their being, their backs locked off, power shifting from foot to thigh to back to arm to oar, and the bow lifts out of the water, momentum, a surge through their blood as they float up the slides in measured unison. The boat slows beneath them. They catch the river in their oars and pull through the water, power, each stroke building speed. Tailwind shifts, and they soar past the slip at Menlo, oblivious to the reeds on the bend. Water sounds, chuk, shum, whoosh. Smooth movements, synchronized breaths, catch, drive, and feather. Inhale on the recovery, slide, and their weight shifts up the boat with the steady pulse of 8 girls who know what's expected of them, and still find the time to train between class and homework, who ignore the silence from the boys' crews, surrender themselves to the single movement, unity, putting every bit of themselves, every bit of longing, every bit of family friction, the overwrought teenage hormones, and Cox is calling the words they need to hear, Coach embodied in her voice. 6, don't push the rate, keep it steady, your boyfriend can't see you now. One more thing to let go of, slipping away down the curved river, perfect technique and strong thighs. Don't lose it now, a hard 10, only 500 meters to go. And 1, forget the boys who don't see you. 2, forget your mom's new boyfriend. 3, forget your fucked up family. 4, forget your secrets. 5, row with every bit of you that's going to fail chemistry. 6, row for everyone else in this boat. 7, row for yourself. 8, no one is watching you now. 9, no one else cares. 10, row as though you have no tomorrow. And they do. They pull the boat as if they have nothing left but muscle and skin and sweat. They lift that boat out of the water, ragged breaths and ribs, and for 16 minutes and 34 seconds, they become perfect. 100 meters to the finish. The girls allow their gaze to slip, to imagine how the other crew has buckled under the weight of these cast-off troubles, the taste of another 8 conflicts slowing the bow, moving down the boat, minutes behind. Take it home, Cox hollers, and they row their last ounce, rowing against the boys who want them to give up the good boat, against the teachers who want them to study more, against their mother's worry that they'll damage themselves, against the lack of expectation that perfection, for them, will ever be achieved in the white polycarbonate hull of a rowing boat. They row, sweat and grip, and not enough lungs, and the boat is good. They row home, to parties, first pints, the kisses of boys, the shift to high heels and pointy-toed shoes. Thank you.